All right, so welcome to the Freedom Specialist podcast. This is episode 2 with doing the whole audio and the video live together. You'll see I'm actually just in my room today. I couldn't get the office to work out, so actually today's been a little bit hectic. Been scrambling a little bit, but I just want to make sure I have everything put together. Just give me just one more moment. All right, so I think pretty much ready to go. Just make sure I have everything in place. Makes for a fun day when things go wrong, but yeah. So we got to enjoy a 3-day weekend with a Monday, being Memorial Day, and this holiday actually it brings to mind an important question for me, and that is, are we still a land of the brave and a home of the free? Are we still that way anymore? So while many have just been, soaking up in the sun during the holiday, we really should remember that it's because of those we honor on Memorial Day that we actually enjoy this 3-day weekend in peace and in safety. And speaking of peace and safety, in the Middle East, in Afghanistan, they actually lost a great measure of their peace and safety with the mass bombing that took place in Kabul. So once again, we're dealing with people who are both unprincipled and without any civility whatsoever. So how do we deal with this? How do we deal with such persons? I want to talk a little bit more about that. But before I get into all this, first, I want to take a moment and I want to thank my awesome sponsor. So my sponsor that's making this possible today is Glowing Rings. So I want to ask you a question. You've probably noticed, haven't you, that you go to a jewelry store or you've looked online and you find that there aren't really many great rings out there. The options are kind of slim. Essentially, you go and you'll find rings that are like, okay, this one's shiny, awesome, but shiny rings have been around since forever. They haven't really changed much. Or you can go the other route and you can get some twisted, gnarly-looking metal sort of ring, or you can even buy yourself one of those kitty sort of mood rings. The options are kind of slim. So what if you could have a ring that looks and feels nice, and one that matches your style, kind of your personality more, and can be enjoyed both day and night? Well, that's why you're going to want to get a glowing ring, because glowing rings, they are awesome. In fact, let me show you. So this is a titanium glowing ring. Or sorry, this is a carbon fiber glowing ring, and then this is a titanium glowing ring. I would try to, and you get a little mini UV light right here to make it glow, but you can't really see the glow very well. But it comes in chrome and black titanium and carbon fiber, so they're super, super lightweight. They're not gonna weigh your hand down like one of those heavy metals, and they do come with a phosphorescent resin that's inlaid in the design of the ring. So right on the inside here, or in the designs of this one, this zigzag design. And you can choose from 4 colors. And they're pretty awesome. Here's the thing. If you go to their website is glowingrings.com. If you go to their website, then you'll actually be able to take advantage of a special sale they have going on. You can get each of the rings for about 50% off. It's pretty fantastic. I love these rings. I've actually worn them quite a bit. And also, the guys at Glowing Rings, they're way awesome. So they're actually letting me give out several of these rings as a gift to my viewers. So if you want to get yourself a ring for free, if you want to be able to win one of these rings, then this is what you need to do. You need to like, comment, and share this video, and you'll be entered into a drawing to win a ring of your own choosing. Does that mean that if you are a winner, then we're going to contact you and we're going to ask you, but they are going to ask you, what sort of ring do you want to have? You can see all the different designs of their website, and you can get exactly what you want. And if you aren't a winner, you can still get those rings at a great discount. Again, go to glowingrings.com. You get 50% off. I remember if you want a free glowing ring, just like and share this video, and you'll be entered into a drawing to win a ring. Just so you know, availability to win a ring is only valid for 24 hours. So you should really take advantage of this right away, as soon as you can. All right. So thank you so much for the sponsors making it possible. Well, now let's go back to Memorial Day. So Memorial Day, I had the following thought. I was really thinking, okay, how do we understand Memorial Day better? And I realized, each and every time that we sing the national anthem, we are actually posed with a question every time. And I didn't realize this before, but the question comes at the very end of that first verse, which we always sing. We only sing the first verse. It says, "Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and home of the brave?" That's actually a question. Like most Americans, for most of my life, I would always think of the people who served in our military at the words "land of the free and home of the brave." But I was always missing the question. Every time I would sing it, land of the free, home of the brave, I was always thinking, that's a great statement. But it's actually a question. So I think today is a great day to actually consider, this week really is a great day to consider the question. Does our flag still wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave? Are we still a free land? And are we brave? Now, I need to put this disclaimer out there. There's no doubt in my mind that each veteran is indeed brave. I'm not talking about veterans. They are the bravest of all of us. They will always be brave. But what of us as people, as ordinary citizens? Are we as free as we once were? Are we brave enough to live in a way that we will continue to be free? Are we brave enough to oppose the threats to our freedom from within? That's really what comes to mind. Are we really brave enough to oppose those threats? We do the greatest disservice to those who have sacrificed so much to keep us free from enemies that are the foreign enemies outside our land. They do so much to protect us, but if we do not choose to preserve our freedom within our own country, when we are afraid or we're too busy, we say, I'm too busy, or really we're just unwilling to speak out against internal threats to freedom, then we aren't brave. We will not, and honestly, we will not remain free very much longer. So some of the greatest threats to our freedom are political polarization, political correctness, progressivism, and irreligiosity. So I want to ask, are we more afraid of labels and bullies that we may face when we speak out, that we don't stop this decay, that we don't stop these things that oppose our freedom? If we will remember the bravery and the courage of our incredible veterans, we might feel a fire within us to face our fear and act bravely, as we remember how they so bravely stood, quoting the last verse of the Star-Spangled Banner, between their loved homes and the war's desolation. And to make us, quote, blessed with victory and peace, may we, the heaven rescued land, praise the power that hath made and preserved us a nation. Then will we realize more clearly that, once again quoting that last verse of our national anthem, conquer we must when our cause it is just. And this be our motto, in God is our trust. Then hopefully, as that last verse in the Star-Spangled Banner suggests, our flag in triumph shall wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. So during a week like this, Memorial Day, thank a veteran. Go to the graves of those who are veterans and honor them. Think of them. And if you can't be brave enough to defend your freedom for yourself, perhaps you can do it for them. Do it for their sacrifices, so that their sacrifices are never wasted. Now, let's talk about the bombing in Kabul, which turns out it's killed more than 90 people. What do we do about these terrorists? Honestly, it's really simple. We are facing an enemy that do not live by any principles that we follow, that we value. And so basically, there's no reasoning that can be made with them. They're like an enemy that has an unconquerable spirit. They're going to do everything they can to eliminate us. They want to eliminate us. They want to eliminate anyone who's not like them. That includes other people of similar religion, but do not have the exact same religious values. So we have to just eliminate them. But with the whirlwind in the media, with President Donald Trump and everything that gets cooked up in controversy, there's so many talking points. This kind of leads me to the next point. There really isn't it about time that we ask ourselves, when is it time to create solutions rather than just discussion points? The truth is, most Americans, we're really, really sick. We're tired of the same old banter from biased and dishonest news. Now, I'm sure that, we can all agree that we could do with a lot less useless debates, like who won, instead of understanding the points that are being made. And we could do a lot with a lot more solution finding. But still, even when our own politicians in Congress, when they put on their work hats and they're going to get to work and they're going to try to create solutions, somehow they always seem to come up with nearly the worst possible solutions imaginable. Almost always. It's like they take issues for which the American people voted for them to solve. Let's say, for example, repealing Obamacare. That's a big one that comes to my mind. A lot of people voted in Republican specifically to repeal it because they didn't want it because they knew it was bad. So they go in and instead of doing what the people wanted them to do, which was to repeal it, instead they get in and they get in saying they're going to repeal it. But once they get in, they basically just rebrand it. And then they continue to push America along this path of ultimately just ruining ourselves in nearly every conceivable way. And this really seems to be the pattern that we follow with most issues, especially great controversial issues that really the answer should be simple about. And they greatly affect us. They greatly affect our freedom and our future. So what do we do about it? Even if our elected officials don't come up with solutions, what can we do about it if they won't come up with solutions? Well, I think it's vital for us to recognize a couple of things. First of all, we, the people, are directly responsible for who we elect. So if we are voting people in who are going to act irresponsible, they're not going to be accountable to us. They're going to just do whatever they want. Even though we specifically vote them to go in and change something that is vital to change, then we should really find better leaders. Stop voting them in. Second, there's a simple truth. And this is what we have to recognize, that our government is nothing more than a reflection of the people, especially because our government is by the people, for the people, of the people. If our government means that there's something about us that is also corrupt. If not, then we wouldn't keep voting corrupt people in. And so what I'm getting at is, if we really truly want to create solutions, rather than run it in the endless circle of politics, blah, 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 and we get nowhere, we must be the ones to know the answers. We, the people, need to know the answers ourselves and become educated on the right stuff, on true principles, and how they apply to our current issues. We need to know the answers. That way, we can more readily hold our politicians accountable and don't expect them to solve everything. So while I'm not going to discuss all 10 points that I came up with about, there was a thing I did a while ago about 10 different topics that America should solve, or else it's going to affect us. Honestly, these are topics I think would be good for us to start to understand. I'm trying not to sneeze right now. The 10 issues, I'll just share them with you. I'm not going to talk about all of them, but the 10 issues are: first, illegal aliens and their children. Second is correct principles and how distorting truth in the news and disrupting justice in our legal system, and also suppressing our First Amendment rights. And number 3 is government regulation of healthcare. Sorry, try not to sneeze. 4, expansion of welfare and subsidy programs. 5th, is tax codes. We have way too many tax codes, really confusing. Sorry, 5 is tax codes. Well, I'm skipping my numbers. Number 6 is cultural entitlement and intolerance. We have a lot of intolerance going on, a lot of entitlement. Number 7 is separation of church from state. And that's a big problem. 8 is public education. 9 is national debt. 10 is excessive regulation of capitalism or the economy. Those are the 10 that I came up with, but they may change over time. I'd love to get your feedback on it. But let's start with illegal aliens and their children. That's one I want to talk about today. Just so you know, nothing I say is completely comprehensive. But I saw the other day an article by a Daily Wire about how the government, about how ICE, the police force in El Salvador were freaking out because essentially ICE was deporting far too many of their criminals, which have come into our land and causing us problems. We've been deporting way too many of them, those criminals that have come into our land illegally, so they're kind of a criminal twice. And I was actually surprised that was actually happening. I didn't think we were really doing anything about the problem yet. Surprised that we were shipping so many there that they were having issues like, oh crud, what do we do? But this brings me to my next question, which is one of the 10 on the list, is actually number 1. And is, what do we do? How do we deal with this problem? So it's become the practice of politicians and news sources to convince the people that illegal aliens have the right to be here because they've been here so long. But really, that's like saying, because I robbed a bank so long ago, I get to keep all that money, right? I robbed the bank, but it's so long ago, so I get to keep that money. I mean, even if I'm caught, I get to keep that money. It happened so long ago. Get over it, right? I'm entitled to it. So in a post-fact society of political correctness, we don't like to acknowledge truth when it appears before us. Really, just really big, people oppose it. So as much as we may agree or disagree with immigration laws, they are indeed and necessarily must be enforced. Why? Why must they be enforced? Well, because they help us ensure that the persons who are coming into this country will be good persons, will contribute to our nation, and also that those persons are not threats to our security. As the border remains open, remains vulnerable to those who have more a malicious intent, they will start coming over more than just those who are looking for jobs. So, for example, I want to share, if our borders are not secure, we find that more sinister persons will take advantage of that open border. Drug cartels are some who take advantage of it, but even more so, more than drug cartels, there are even more serious people, more serious concern of the numbers of potential terrorists who come in through the borders. Many people aren't aware of that, but there's a lot of terrorists and potential terrorists who come in through the border. One report shares how, quote, in 2001, Mohammed Korani was smuggled across the Mexican border and into the U.S. in the trunk of a car. To court documents, Mr. Korani was a member, fighter, and fundraiser for the Lebanese Shiite militant group known as Hezbollah. So he came over and he's making money for them. And he settled in Dearborn, Michigan, it continues to say, as an unauthorized migrant, raising money for Hezbollah until he was ordered deported in 2003, end quote. That's crazy. So this is just one of many examples where radicals from many different countries, some of these radicals, many of them actually support ISIS sometimes, they're taking advantage of the open borders. So suddenly the border is wide open to more than people looking to enter the U.S. illegally, strictly for the purposes of looking for a job. We have people coming in for a lot of other reasons now. It's no longer those more innocent, I say, sort of people. So an open border means easy access and real problems for us. Simplest way to put it. An article from the Washington Times revealed that, quote, a smuggling network has managed to sneak illegal immigrants, I hate that. It's actually illegal aliens because they're not immigrants. Illegal immigrants from Middle Eastern terrorist hotbeds, straight to the doorstep of the U.S., including helping one Afghan who authorities say was part of an attack plot in North America. Immigration officials have identified at least a dozen Middle Eastern men, and this is recently. This was when the article came out last summer. Eastern men smuggled into the Western Hemisphere by a Brazilian-based network, with Mexicans who guided them to the U.S. border. And that is according to internal government documents reviewed by the Washington Times. So it continues on. It says that those smuggled in, so those that trafficking thing was smuggling in, included Palestinians, Pakistanis, and the Afghan man who Homeland Security officials said had family ties to Taliban. And they're now quoting one of the directors, that he was involved in a plot to conduct an attack in the U.S. and or Canada, end quote. And that's from the Washington Times. So if we do not secure our borders and actually enforce the law when it comes to entering the states illegally, if we don't enforce that, then we have no reason whatsoever to monitor who's coming across. And if there aren't any repercussions, in other words, if we don't enforce it and there aren't repercussions for crossing the border, so nothing bad happens, you don't go to jail or whatever, then many more evil people will come in mass and inflict serious harm on us. We're just kind of sitting ducks. So before we even try to figure out the whole illegal alien problem, we must first recognize that securing our border, illegal aliens living in our land, are two separate but related issues. One really must come before the other. Like, you can't really solve this one until you solve this one. So no matter how you choose to deal with illegal aliens, all of our efforts will be useless unless we first secure the border. This is the first issue you must deal with. And you have to secure the border for many obvious reasons, like the ones I just shared. The illegal aliens already, or ensuring that more can't keep coming in. If we don't solve that problem first, that's a lot like using a teacup to toss the incoming water out of a sinking boat. Like, the boat's sinking. So at some point we have to realize, we have to see how futile this teacup is. You have to solve the border security first before you worry about the people who are already in. So now we are told that there are only two options. There are only two options when it comes to dealing with illegal aliens. This is what we're told. Either we do the meanie jerk face thing to do, which is to deport all of them, or we could do the compassionate thing to do, which is to give all of them clemency. Just make them all citizens. Just give it all to them. Of course, those aren't the only two options, but we are told that they are the only ones we can choose from. So let's look at those two options to better understand what each one is really asking for, and perhaps we can see a better solution to dealing with it. So let's start with understanding the meanie one, deportation, being a mean jerk face. So some suggest that the idea of deporting all of the illegal aliens is evil and immoral. Some even pretend that these persons have some sort of right to be here. Believe that they have the right to be here, just like I have the right to keep the money I stole from the bank, right? But actually, if we can get over our feelings, we will see that as much as we may not enjoy it, deporting illegal aliens, or in other words, enforcing immigration law, is, in general, maybe not always, I have to say that, maybe not always, but in general, is a very good and very important practice. Enforcing that law, which includes deporting, is a very important practice. It's a very good practice. What makes the enforcement of immigration laws, even by deportation, is that what makes it good is that it provides America with a necessary measure of security. So security, as you have already heard, is really important from the examples you already heard about, the potential terrorists that come over and also drug cartels, those problems. We need to keep it secure. So however, the problem with trying to deport, all of them is that it's really impractical. You're not going to be able to get all of them. There's over 12 million, and many of them have established families. All that, they've established a whole life here. So now we're talking about many more people than just those individuals who came over. Now we're talking about a lot of children also. So mass deportation is not going to solve the problem. But we also have to recognize that neither is comprehensive immunity the right answer. That's not the right answer. And here's why. And so magically making all of them, all the illegal aliens, citizens doesn't solve the problem, especially if the border remains open. Once again, solve this one, then you can get to this, and we don't want this dumb teacup thing going on. Waving a magic wand and giving all illegal aliens full citizenship is a terrible idea. It's a terrible idea, really, considering that in order for those persons to be here in the first place, they had to commit a felony to do so. So think about it. They had to become criminals just to get here. So we should consider a path that slowly commits each illegal alien to act legally and responsibly. Remember, they're already criminals, so we don't want to just give them citizenship immediately. Remember, the point of having immigration laws is to ensure that we allow persons who will be law-abiding, who will be compatible with our laws, our society, and we keep out those who won't. Simple as that. So waving that magic wand of universal immunity, giving everyone citizenship, also means that we give full rights of citizenship to illegal aliens who are also drug cartel members, gang members, terrorists, and terrorist sympathizers. We don't want that, do we? No, that'd be awful. We still have to vet these people. So those are the two polar opposite examples, really. I shared a little bit of my proposal, but it comes to dealing with the issue. They always say, either you deport all of them or you give all of them citizenship. It's the only thing you can do, right? But as I said before, it makes much more sense to establish a more careful, step-by-step process to commit those who are good and willing to commit them, get them committed to obey the laws in steps, until citizenship can be considered a possibility. Full citizenship can be considered a possibility, a process that would require them to come out in the open and reveal who they are and have it all proven, documented. We want them to not be hiding, we want them to be full citizenships, or at least start that process of getting there, and then possibly grant them a type of visa, maybe a work visa, but go from there. We need them to take at least small legal action steps. If we want to get to full citizenship, take actions to help them practice being law-abiding. I think it makes sense that the children of the said illegal aliens should only obtain citizenship so long as their parents take the right legal steps to also gain that legal citizenship. So that way, as a family, they are working together to live legally and lawfully in this country. And I think that's reasonable to have the parents be the ones to determine for the children, because remember, it was the unlawful choices of those parents who broke the law and which put the children in this precarious situation. It was the parents' choices that did that. So it must also be those parents' responsibility to ensure that their children can be freed from this predicament. They can be freed from this predicament by their own responsible choices to conform with law. That really is the only thing that makes sense. At least in my mind, that does. It helps us really go on the right path. So really, that's all for now. I know that's not all comprehensive, but thank you. I just want to say thank you so much for watching this week's episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. My name is Alex Spicer, and you've been watching The Freedom Specialist. Live free. Till next time. Thank you.